Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. In a peaceful residential neighborhood in Georgia, summer days are often scorching, and Dr. Marcus Hill's pool has become his haven of tranquility. A respected and unassuming physician, Marcus purchased this beautiful home after years of hard work, proud to offer his family a place of peace and dignity. But that day, on returning from work, he discovers something unreal. Several children he doesn't know are playing in his private pool, while a white woman, elegant but haughty, lounges on her deck chair, with a glass of lemonade in her hand. This woman, Karen Wallace, lives in the same housing development. Known for her condescending attitude and barely concealed contempt for the black families in the neighborhood, she decided that Marcus's pool should be made available to white residents during the heat wave. Without asking for any permission, she climbed the fence with her children, even setting up a cooler and a Bluetooth speaker. When Marcus calmly approaches and points out that she is on private property, Karen bursts out laughing. "Oh, come on, don't get so tense. You weren't even using the pool. And besides, let's be honest, a man like you can't really maintain a place like that." The words land like a slap. Neighbors watch discreetly from their windows, some filming the scene, others preferring to look away. Marcus remains calm, but a chilling determination shines through his eyes. Karen will never forget what he does next. Because she doesn't know that Marcus isn't just the owner of the house, but president of the neighborhood association, the very same person who can have any resident evicted for serious violation of community regulations. And what he is about to reveal in front of the entire neighborhood will turn the situation around, publicly humiliate Karen, and teach her a lesson in humility that she will never forget in her life. The sun beat down hard on the cobblestones of the Willow Creek neighborhood. The air vibrated with a stifling heat, but that was nothing compared to the rising tension in Dr. Marcus Hill's garden. Standing by his pool, Marcus stared at Karen Wallace, who was lying on her deck chair, sunglasses on her nose, as if she thought she was in a five-star hotel. "Madam Wallace," he said in a calm but firm voice, "I would ask you to leave my property immediately." Karen barely raised her head, looking amused. "Your property?" she replied with a mocking laugh. "Oh, come on, Marcus, don't be ridiculous. You know perfectly well that this pool would be much more useful to those who know how to enjoy it. You should be flattered that it's finally being brought to life." Around them, a few curious neighbors discreetly observed from their windows. The spectacle promised to be interesting. But Marcus didn't give in for a moment. He took out his phone, opened an app, and with a single click, triggered the security gate alarm. The noise startled Karen's children, who rushed out of the water. "This is a violation of private property," he declared, calmly filming the scene, "and I prefer to have proof of everything that happens here." Karen's face tightened. "You dare film me?" she exclaimed, red with anger. "I'm going to call the neighborhood association office. They'll put you in your place." Marcus gave a slight smile. "Excellent idea. But it won't be necessary, since I'm the president of the association." Silence fell. Even the cicadas seemed to fall silent. Karen looked at him, speechless. Her children, trembling, stared at her, awaiting her orders. "That's impossible," she stammered. How could a man like you have been appointed president?" Marcus looked her straight in the eyes. "On merit, Mrs. Wallace. And because here, contrary to what you believe, skin color does not determine a person's worth." He took a few steps towards her. "You have violated someone else's property, endangered your children, and made discriminatory remarks in front of witnesses. According to the regulations that yourself you signed when you moved in here, this is grounds for immediate eviction from the housing estate." Karen turned as pale as a sheet. His arrogance suddenly vanished, replaced by visible panic. "Wait. I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't mean to." Marcus calmly interrupted him. "It's not for me to judge your intentions. But from now on, you'll learn that respect is not optional." He turned towards his phone's camera. "For the report, this incident will be reported to the neighborhood committee this evening." Humiliated, Karen hurriedly gathered her belongings and left, head down, under the gaze of the neighbors who were still filming. Marcus, for his part, remained standing, silent, observing the pool where traces of the passage of injustice still floated. That day, Willow Creek learned a lesson. Respect is not commanded by color, but by dignity. 2 days later, the Willow Creek Community Hall was packed. The residents had gathered for an extraordinary meeting convened by the committee chairman, Dr. Marcus Hill. The whispers were flying, everyone knew why they were there. The Karen Wallace and the swimming pool case had become the main topic of conversation in the entire neighborhood. Karen entered, head held high, dressed in a white suit. Despite the tension, she tried to maintain appearances. But behind her dark glasses, her eyes betrayed her worry. Sitting in the front row, she noticed that several neighbors who used to give her knowing smiles were now avoiding her with their eyes. Marcus arrived shortly afterwards, calmly greeting each person with his characteristic serenity. He took his place in the center, opened the file in front of him, and began the meeting in a measured voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. We are here to examine a serious breach of community regulations, trespassing on private property, discriminatory remarks, and failure to comply with the statutes of Willow Creek." The words echoed in the room. Karen S.E. rated. I would like to say something," she exclaimed, standing up abruptly. "This has all been misinterpreted. It was just a misunderstanding. I simply wanted my children to cool off. I thought the pool was out of use." Marcus looked up at her, impassive. "You climbed a fence, moved chairs, and plugged in a speaker. That doesn't sound like a mistake, Mrs. Wallace." A murmur of approval rippled through the room. Karen, feeling the ground give way beneath her feet, changed her tone. I admit I was wrong. But you know how things are, it all went too far because of social media." Marcus slowly closed the folder and took out a tablet. He launched a video on the big screen, the complete recording of the incident. Her calm voice. Karen's mocking laughter. And above all, that sentence that sent shivers through the entire room. "Let's be honest, a man like you can't really maintain a place like this." Silence fell. Even Karen looked away, unable to look at herself. Marcus spoke. "Ms. Wallace, Willow Creek is meant to be a place of unity, respect, and coexistence. What you have done not only tarnishes your image, but that of the entire neighborhood." He paused, then added. "However, I believe in second chances. You will receive a fine, a suspension of your community rights, and you will be required to issue a public apology to the residents. But I will not seek your expulsion, on one condition." Karen looked up, surprised. "Which?" Marcus looked her straight in the eyes. "By participating in our community program to help disadvantaged families every weekend this summer, you will learn what sharing, dignity, and respect truly mean." The room erupted in quiet applause, some moved, others admiring. Karen, with tears in her eyes, silently nodded. For the first time, his arrogance had faded away, giving way to shame, but also to a beginning of understanding. That evening, as she left the room, she met Marcus's kind gaze. She whispered, "Thank you for not destroying me." And he simply replied, "It is not revenge that elevates, Mrs. Wallace. It is the lesson one learns from it." The weeks passed, and summer in Willow Creek was in full swing. Every Saturday morning, to the great surprise of the residents, Karen Wallace would leave her house at dawn, simply dressed, without makeup, her hair tied back, carrying a basket of groceries. Those who knew her before had difficulty recognizing her. The arrogant and distant woman seemed to have given way to someone else, a more humble, more human person. Under the supervision of Marcus Hill, the community program brought together volunteers to distribute meals and supplies to families in neighboring districts. At first, Karen kept to herself, uncomfortable, embarrassed to be watched. But little by little, she began to talk to people, to listen to their stories. And for the first time, she heard the pain behind the smiles, the strength in the looks, the dignity in the simplicity. One Saturday, while she was serving meals to a black family with 2 young children, the youngest timidly asked her, Madam, are you the lady from the swimming pool? Karen felt her heart clench. Several volunteers around her had heard. She took a deep breath and replied softly. Yes, it was me. And I was wrong. The child stared at her for a moment, then smiled. It's all right, ma'am. Now you're being nice. These simple words struck her like a revelation. She then understood that forgiveness did not come from apologies, but from the real change one then embodied. A month later, at another neighborhood meeting, Marcus proudly announced. Thanks to our efforts, we have helped over 50 families in and around Willow Creek. And I would like to thank someone in particular for her dedication. Mrs. Karen Wallace. The entire room applauded. Karen, visibly moved, stood up, tears in her eyes. I never thought I would be applauded here one day, she said in a trembling voice that I was ashamed of my words and actions. But it is thanks to this man, she turned to Marcus, that I understood that true superiority is that of the heart, not of color. Marcus smiled, visibly touched. The audience rose to their feet, and a warm ovation resounded throughout the hall. That evening, as she was returning home, Karen passed by Marcus's house. The pool shimmered softly in the twilight. She paused for a moment, hesitated, then approached the fence. Marcus was there, sitting by the water, a book in his hand. Dr. Hill, she said softly, I would never dare ask you to use your pool again. But if one day you want to share a barbecue with the neighbors, my door will always be open to you. Marcus looked up, gave a sincere smile, and replied. That day will come, Mrs. Wallace. Because true neighborliness is when you share more than just a street, you share respect. Under the orange skies of Georgia, two neighbors who were complete opposites had finally found common ground, humanity.